Hey guys, back with another Yankee PC video, and today I'm going to show some stuff of the 1996 team which won the World Series, and they had a lot of likable characters on that team, so I'm going to show some of them, except for some guys like Jeter and Bernie and Mariano, because those guys are going to get their own video eventually. So let's get into some of this stuff, and that of course is the stadium which they played in, the old Yankee Stadium. And we'll start off with the manager, Joe Torre. 1996 was the first year which he was the Yankee manager, and the local media here thought it was a mistake. They thought he was kind of too nice of a guy to take over this team, and they didn't think he'd last very long, but he proved them all wrong. Not only did he win that first year, but he wound up winning 4 championships in his time here with the Yankees. So just a few cards of him here. That one from 2004. Number to 2004, and my only autograph of him from 2002 Diamond Kings, number to 125. And here's Don Zimmer, not pictured with the Yankees, but I just wanted to represent him here because he was a really important part of that team as well. He was the bench coach, but it was almost like having 2 managers because he really helped Joe Torre out on a lot of his decisions, and he was just a really good guy to have on the bench, really smart guy. And I also wanted to represent this guy, Bob Watson. He was the general manager at the time, and he made a lot of moves that the local media didn't like here, and he caught a lot of flack from George Steinbrenner for some of the moves he made, but it turned out to be some really good moves because obviously they won a championship. And so now let's go to some of the players, starting with David Cone. He was the ace of that staff, even though he missed a portion of that season with an aneurysm, and thankfully he was able to get back late in the season and pitched well, pitched some really big games in the playoffs. There's an old Bowman Chrome, 96 metal. Always love those mid-90s metal cards. Here's another nice set, 96 EXL. To this day, I still would like to open a box of that stuff. This was kind of a higher end product back then, so I didn't buy too much of it, but some really great looking cards. Here's some Flair Showcase stuff. That's a row 2 from 98, and a row 1 from 98, and a 97 Finest Refractor. And here's a card of him from his 99 Perfect Game. And another pitcher in that rotation in 96, Jimmy Key. At that point, he was no longer the really good starter that he used to be. Kind of like a 5-6 inning guy. But he pitched some decent games here and there, and he actually pitched and won the final game of that World Series in Game 6. Here's an insert card of him. Probably would look better if I peeled off the protective film, but I won't do that unless I get another one of those. So just a couple cards of him. I have some more cards of all these guys, but I just pulled a few of them out of the binders. There's Doc Gooden, who I actually don't think he made the postseason roster that year. Didn't really have a great year overall, but he did pitch a no-hitter early in the year. So he's always kind of remembered for being part of that team because of that no-hitter he pitched. Here's another one of those EXL cards. And a Golden Memories insert. Now we move on to some of the bullpen guys, which were really important because, like I said, some of those starters weren't going very deep into games, so they really needed a deep bullpen that year, and it had guys like this step up. So this is Ramiro Mendoza, and he was kind of a versatile pitcher for them. He could spot start on occasion, and he would give them some pretty decent starts, and he would work out of the bullpen, and he could either go 2 or 3 innings out of the bullpen or even longer if the starter would get knocked out early. So he was just a really important pitcher for them for a number of years. Here's an ultra rookie of him and an ultra gold medallion, and back then the regular and the gold medallion had different photo variations, which is pretty cool. There's a 98 ultra. Here's another important bullpen piece, Jeff Nelson. Didn't pitch particularly well in the regular season that year, but really stepped it up in the playoffs and went on to have some really good seasons with the Yankees. Here's an autograph of him from '96 Leaf. Here's another big bullpen piece. Graham Lloyd was kind of a situational lefty. Got some big outs in that World Series against the Braves. Got some of their tough lefties like Fred McGriff and Ryan Klesko. That was another one of those mid-season acquisitions by Bob Watson. And here's Tim Raines. A lot of people forget Tim Raines was with that Yankee team, and he was kind of towards the end of his career, but he was still one of those guys that could occasionally start, give you some hits, could still occasionally steal a base, and most of all, he just provided a lot of leadership. I remember Derek Jeter used to hang around him a lot. I think Jeter learned a lot from him about just how to carry himself and how to be a professional, so it's important to have guys like that when you're trying to develop some young players. So I always remember Raines, not necessarily for his stats with the Yankees, but just kind of the role he played. Another nice EXL card. And here's Darryl Strawberry, who they had in '95, but didn't re-sign him, so he was playing in the minor league somewhere in '96. And again, mid-season acquisition, came in, put up some decent numbers, played well in the playoffs, actually started a few games in left field in the World Series. There's a '96 Ultra. Another nice metal card. Bowman Chrome. And a Finest Refractor. Here's Mariano Duncan, who for most of his career was kind of a utility player, but that year with the Yankees he batted .340, had by far his best year ever. Didn't really do well in the playoffs, but he's one of those guys that kind of had a lot of energy, a good character guy, kind of kept all the other guys loose. So he's always remembered as one of the fan favorites from that team. And here's Cecil Fielder, another guy they acquired middle of the season. They traded Ruben Sierra to the Tigers for him and put up some good numbers and was really clutch in that World Series, batted close to .400, got some really big hits, and even played some defense at first base. Here's a nice one with him and Tim Raines. And a '97 Pacific. Here's Andy Fox, who was kind of a utility guy. He's just one of those guys, didn't really have a lot of talent, but did pretty much anything they needed him to do. Played a bunch of positions. He would pinch run, defensive replacement, lay down a bunt. Just one of those scrappy type players that I really like. And so next we have Jim Leyritz. Leyritz split time with Joe Girardi at catcher that year, but he's most remembered for having one of the biggest hits of that World Series, a 3-run homer off the Braves closer in Game 4, tied that game up and eventually sent it into extra innings, and the Yankees wound up winning it. And he actually had a lot of big postseason moments for the Yankees throughout his career. There's an insert kind of talking about that home run against the Braves. Here's an autograph from Topps. And another autograph from a few years later when he was with the Padres. Here's a Wade Boggs '93 Flair. Everyone pretty much knows Wade Boggs. Great hitter, Hall of Famer. Actually worked really hard on his defense in his time with the Yankees. He won a Gold Glove, I think, in '94 or '95. And he didn't hit much in that World Series, but he did get one of the biggest moments. That same game I was just talking about where Jim Leyritz tied it. In extra innings, the Yankees loaded up the bases with 2 outs. Wade Boggs came in to pinch hit, had a great at-bat, drew a walk that drove in the go-ahead run, and the Yankees wound up winning. There's a nice Studio Gold card, kind of a credit card looking thing. A nice Flair Showcase Row 0. And a jersey card from Fleer. And here's John Wetland, who was the closer that year. He wound up being the World Series MVP. He got the save in all 4 games that the Yankees won. and he actually left after that season as a free agent, but always remembered for helping them win that championship. There's another one of those Stadium Club holograms. Upper Deck card with Jim Leyritz. And here's one from the following year when he signed with Texas. And an autograph from Upper Deck. And last guy is Charlie Hayes. Started his career with the Yankees, but did not start that season with the Yankees. I think he was either with Philly or Pittsburgh. And it was yet another trade that Bob Watson made. He brought in Charlie Hayes to split time at third with Wade Boggs. And Hayes wound up playing some good defense over there, got some clutch hits. Just a really solid role player. And there's an Upper Deck autograph of him. And Hayes actually wound up making the final out of that World Series in Game 6. I remember it like it was yesterday. Mark Lemke popped up towards the Braves dugout. Charlie Hayes went over and the ball was just out of reach, fell into the Braves dugout. But at the very next pitch, Lemke popped it up in pretty much the same spot, but this one stayed in play and Hayes made the catch and the series was over. And so that's going to wrap up the 96 Yankees video. Again, there were about a handful of players that were excluded from this video just to keep the video from going too long, but videos for those players will be on the way soon. So thank you guys for watching, and see you all next time.